What's good, YouTube? Zam Crow here, aka Scoop, back with the Pokemon Battle Federation Season 7, and we're in week number 9, and we're taking on the St. Kilda Serperiors, coached by JRGB, aka Bacon Chest. Bacon Chest. So my opponent drafted a really solid squad. He had one of the top few picks, and he grabbed Celesteela round 1 and paired it with Mega Latios, Mamoswine, Primarina, Entei, Drapion, Serperior, Miltank, Conkeldurr, Alolan Raichu, and Cradily. So looks like some bulky offense to me with some really solid breakers and things like Mamoswine, Primarina, and Entei, Conkeldurr, and such. And he has some okay speed tiers, but not the best. So I felt like Weavile could really shine in this matchup, and a Dragon Dancing Haxorus could actually shine in this matchup with his he's got things like Extreme Speed, Entei, Ice Shard, Mamoswine, and Mach Punch, Conkeldurr. So once I establish what has his priority in this matchup and things like that, I could eventually set up with Haxorus and just win potential. Things like Celesteela and Miltank need to be weakened severely for Haxorus to put in the work, to be honest. So my opponent has huge threats like Celesteela, Mamoswine, Entei, Mega Latios to an extent. It's not as potent as Mega Latios, but still a threat in my opinion. I think it's a top tier mon. So we have Weavile, Tapu Fini, Zapdos, Nidoqueen, Heatran, Serena, Haxorus, Mega Medicham, Licky, and the Palossand, where we've decided that our best bring was going to be Life Orb Weavile. Well, we'll go ahead and hop into it, I suppose. So we got a Life Orb Weavile here with the Pickpocket ability. I didn't need pressure whatsoever this matchup, so I felt like if I lost my item, Pickpocket would be nice to get a new item, despite what it may be, leftovers, or like a Choice Scarf, Choice Man, whatever it may be. I felt like it would be okay to get it. So I have a Life Orb, Swords Dance, 3 attacks variant here with Knockoff, Icicle Crash, and Poison Jab. Poison Jab is there for, actually forgot what it's there for. What was it there for? Oh, for the Primarina. So Knockoff and Icicle Crash hit everything at least neutrally, outside of Primarina, which is bopped by a Life Orb Adamant Poison Jab. We're afforded to go Adamant because I felt like the things that he would be speed creeping wouldn't be able to outpace this set on my Weavile. I'm able to outpace, I think, base 10. I'm setting at 340 speed. So I outpace things like Mienshao, but what else do I outpace? What else do I outpace? There's something. There's something. He's speed creeping me or something like that. There's definitely a reason for my EVs. And like I mentioned, I'm afforded to run Adamant Life Orb with the ability to set up a Swords Dance in this match since I'm not bringing Ice Shard. I felt like Ice Shard wasn't needed in this matchup unless he was like Choice Scarf Serp. But I don't expect Choice Scarf Serp versus my team when I've got things like Heatran and Zapdos that would counter that severely. So yeah, that's going to be the team, well, not the team, but that's going to be Weavile, the start of the team. And then we can move on to our Expert Belt, Tapu Fini here with quite a bit of speed as well. Not quite as much as, well, I guess around roughly the same. Actually the same exact EVs, but Tapu Fini's naturally slower by a landslide. So I'm setting at enough speed to outpace Mamoswine, and I can bop it with a super effective Expert Belt boosted Surf. I've also got Moonblast to hit the Mega Latios. Nature's Madness is pretty cool for things like Celesteela and Serp that I want to switch in. Also, he has things like Primarina, which might take a lot less. If it's like really bulky, it can take a lot less from Surf and Moonblast. And then he's got Cradily, which could be a nuisance, and I'd like to be able to taunt and hit that thing up with a Nature's Madness. I also outpace Miltank and like slow Drapions, so I can and Mammal Swine like I mentioned, so I can prevent hazards with taunt, which is pretty dope. I have enough special attack investment to be able to 2-hit KO Mammal Swine, Megalodios, and I think Serp. And if he's like a non-assault vest conk, it's 2-hit KO'd by Moonblast as well. And this thing sets the mixed terrain so that things like Weavile and Mega Medicham can't be burned or anything like that. And also, every time I switch into a potential Entei Sacred Fire, I avoid the burn as well. So Tapu Finis are really dope. Next up we have Zapdos, which is which is a max defense, max HP Zapdos, because I can come in on Stealth Rocks and take a Z move from Celesteela, such as the Rocky MZ Continental Crush, and then survive that and be able to roost up and bop it back with the Thunderbolt. I can also avoid 2-hit KOs from Earthquake as I roost, say like something like Celesteela is clicking Earthquake at predicting my roost. I'm never going to be a 2-hit KO'd, and I'm always recovering more with roost and leftovers. And pressure is really dope versus my opponent as well, because I can, while I don't need it on Weavile, because its switch-ins are going to be limited, things that can switch in on Zapdos, such as Megalodios and Celesteela and things like that, will be, punished by pressure. And then I have Signal Beam to hit the Megalodios. It also hits the Serp, so I didn't have to rely on something weak like Hidden Power Ice, and Roost and Defog for longevity and hazard control. I don't want my opponent, if my opponent is able to set up Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks and all that, I don't want it to be an issue, so I always want to be able to defog those away if it comes to that. So yeah, that's going to be it for that. Next up we have Heatran, which is a Sugarberry variant. I expect him to have like a Serp with Hidden Power Ground and Leaf Storm, or potentially 2 Leaf Storms into Hidden Power Ground, or Leaf Storm into 2 Hidden Power Grounds. Could potentially knock me out. So that's a huge issue. I'm rocking the Sugarberry, so that's not as big of an issue. And I have the Lava Plume to be able to 2-hit KO Serp back. Earth Power hits things like Drapion, which I guess Lava Plume's okay to hit, but it hits it super effectively. It also hits, I guess, to an extent, it hits Raichu a little bit harder, but doesn't I guess it's mostly there for Entei, because Raichu and, what was the other mon I mentioned? Raichu and the Drapion are hit pretty hard by Lava Plume, but Entei doesn't appreciate Earth Power, doesn't appreciate Stealth Rocks either. And I have Stealth Rocks and Roar on this thing, so I can roar things out. If Megalodios wants to be an issue, I can roar it out. If Megalodios is like a modest variant, which it very well could be, but then it allows Adamant Weavile to outpace it with just enough speed to be able to outpace it without running Jolly. If he's not timid max speed, so he may run timid, but he may not run timid. So he could also pack Earthquake as well. So that's where my Sugarberry comes into play once again. But it's mostly there so I can come in on like things like Draco Meteor, Surf. Not the Sugarberry, but my SPDF investment is there so I can come in on Dracos, Surfs, and things like that. Max SPDF, max HP. Similar to my Zapdos, max defense, max HP. So next up we have Mega Medicham, which is just a nuke this week. Max attack, max speed, Jolly Nature, Fake Out 3 attacks with High Jump Kick, Zen Headbutt, and Ice Punch. Zen Headbutt's hitting everything pretty decently hard, such as things that hit, avoid High Jump Kick, I should say. Celesteela takes a ton from High Jump Kick. Mammal Swine takes a ton from High Jump Kick. Entei, Drapion, Serp, Miltank, Conk, Cradilly, they all are taking a ton or dropping to High Jump Kick. The mons that resist High Jump Kick are dropping to Zen Headbutt, and then mons that resist both aren't taking the Ice Punch. But I guess Alolan Raichu is an exempt from that statement, but it's not really the bulkiest and not going to be switching into Mega Medicham anyway. So yeah, really huge threat for my opponent. It can just come in and claim a life or force something out and force something else to take unnecessary damage. and pressures things to run protect potentially to avoid high jump kick, and for me to take 50% recoil, which is something that I haven't ran a lot this season. I've only ran high jump kick a couple times. I ran drain punch and things like psycho cut and zen headbutt and ice punch and baton pass. I haven't ran a lot of just nuking. I think I ran one solid team, like one team, maybe two teams like this. I think two teams like this. One versus Andy and one versus Bronson. But something else to me. I'll talk about that when we get out of the team builder. So next up we have Haxers, which is our Yachi Berry variant with Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw, Poison Jab, and Low Kick. So at +1 after Stealth Rocks, Low Kick is doing quite a bit to Celesteela because of its weight and it being a neutral top attack. Dragon Claw is dropping basically everything else, and Poison Jab is dropping the Primarina. So really, really dope that I was able to run Adamant and have enough speed to outpace Mammal Swine still before a Dragon Dance. And I got the Unnerve ability, so that anything with like a Kibia Berry or like a Chople Berry or anything like that is going to be unable to be used. And my Yachi Berry is still, it's unaffected by Unnerve, which is pretty dope. But yeah, I guess that's just about it for the team builder, and we can go ahead and hop into the battle, and we'll be right back. Alright, so my opponent chooses to bring the Conkeldurr, the Megalodios, Celesteela, Mamoswine, Alolan Raichu, and the Primarina, as we brought the team from the team builder we just went over. And I felt pretty solid going into the matchup looking at the team he brought. He doesn't bring things like Entei, he doesn't bring the Drapion or the Serperior, which is really dope, and no Miltank. So Haxorus looks pretty solid. If Mamoswine can get beat down, I can get rocks up and can keep hazards up, then Mamoswine has Haxorus has a really solid chance to set up a Dragon Dance and sweep. I am a shiny Haxorus. It doesn't show it team preview, but once we get into the battle, you'll see my shiny Haxorus. Shout out to my top 5 shiny videos where Haxorus made the list. Go check that out if you haven't, and then come back to this video. So, something I wanted to mention about this battle. We are 8 weeks in, and my opponent is 6-2 going into this battle, and I am 6-2 going into this battle. My opponent has a +14 differential, and I have a +13 differential. So we have the same record at 6-2, and we both have a +10 or better differential, with my opponent being at +14 and me being at +13. So huge game here. Winner's going to have 7 wins. Loser's going to have 6 wins. Winner's going to have 2 losses, and loser's going to have his 3rd loss of the season. Really, really huge game, especially going into the later part of the season. And yeah, so he only has 1 Stealth Rocker, Mamoswine. So I felt Mega Medicham was a solid lead in this matchup. It nukes the Primarina as long as it's not Choice Scarf. It can fake out into High Jump Kick the Mamoswine. It can Zen Headbutt the Conkeldurr. The only matchup I don't like necessarily is Alolan Raichu, one of his psychic types. I wouldn't even mind to click High Jump Kick against Celesteela and potentially get some huge damage off on it. But I do have Zapdos, which is a solid switch anyway, so not too big of an issue. Not too big of an issue. I am going to just lead off with Mega Medicham here, and it gives me all kinds of different options here. My best option is just to click Fake Out in case he has Protect or he is Sash. So that's what I'm going to do. Don't want anything cheeky to happen, so I'm just going to click that Protect, and my opponent does click I click the Fake Out. My opponent clicks the Protect, and it works out well for him. I'm going to click the Zen Headbutt here, predicting him to be Sash, so that High Jump Kick was unnecessary. And in case he went for the double Protect, it didn't matter. And in case he had Ice Shard, I didn't want to be knocked out there, so I hard switch into my Tapu Fini, and my opponent reads that and gets his Stealth Rocks up. And I'm going to go hard for the Moonblast, predicting my opponent to, if anything, go into Primarina or Megalodios. But he actually switches into a Alolan Raichu, and I get a special attack drop. I'm going to play as if I didn't, though. And I'm going to go hard into my Heat Ram, as my opponent just Volt Switches out and reveals Life Orb. So my opponent's revealed Life Orb. I'm going to go into Mega Medicham here and sack it off. No real reason to save it. It's did enough. It's put Mamoswine in range of just about everything. And I go into Tapu Fini here, and I'm going to be able to chew up the Poison Jab as I get some crucial damage off with Moonblast onto the Conkeldurr. He then switches out to his Primarina, and I'm able to go for the Nature's Madness before being knocked out by the Moonblast to get it really, really low as well. Excuse me. Here I force out the Primarina, so I'm going to go ahead and click that Defog, get rid of these Stealth Rocks on my side, and then I'm going to go out into Heat Ram. And with my Shuka Berry still intact, I can live an Earthquake here, and I attempt to get my rocks up. As he goes out to Primarina, here I'm just going to click the Earth Power to get a little bit more chip on him, and he knocks me out with the Surf. I bring in Zapdos here, and Zapdos is just going to click Thunderbolt. Zapdos has a really solid matchup now that Mamoswine's been weakened, and that Conkeldurr's actually been weakened as well. So here I'm just going to Roost and see how much damage he can do with Thunderbolt or Psychic. And I'm actually in range to just be able to Roost this damage off. And he's going to eventually die to the Life Orb recoil while I get back to full. So as you can see, he can't get a 2-hit KO there, and I Roost back up, back to 100%. And now he brings in his Celesteela. I'm going to go straight for the Thunderbolt. I don't want to play with this threat. And he's going to go straight for the Continental Crush, not wanting to play with Zapdos as a threat. And here I'm going to Roost up as he predicts that and goes for the Earthquake. So big plays here, huge plays, but I'm able to Roost up. Like I mentioned, this thing's max HP, max defense, so that I could comfortably do this at all times. Roost up here, take the Earthquake once again, Roost up, take the Earthquake once again, and then once I hit full here, I'm going to be able to just click Thunderbolt on the following turn. And now Celesteela is out of the way. So Weavile looks pretty solid. Haxorus looking pretty solid. And now I can just stay in here. I'm going to go for the Signal Beam to get chip off on the Mega Latios, but he actually drops me with the Draco. I go hard into Weavile, and I go straight for the Life Orb knockoff, and he survives quite comfortably. He drops another Draco on my head, and I'm able to remove him from the match with the knockoff. So here, he either has Mach Punch or he doesn't. Huge play. I don't have Ice Shard, or I would potentially go for it. I think maybe a Life Orb, Adamant, Ice Shard, Max Attack might knock out Conk from this range, but I don't have it. I'm Swords Dance through attacks, and Ice Shard isn't one of those attacks. So my opponent has a huge opportunity here to click Mach Punch and knock me out. Or he can click Drain Punch to want to get a little health back, thinking that I might click the Ice Punch. So my play is to just click Knockoff, and he knocks me out with the Mach Punch, and I'm going to go into Haxorus here. And reason being is because I don't need a Dragon Dance to knock out Conk. I don't need a Dragon Dance to knock out Mamoswine. They're both low enough to where I don't need that for the knockout. And Mach Punch into Ice Shard normally knocks me out, but I am Yachi Berry, so he has to maybe his play is to predict my Dragon Dance here and click Knockoff so that he gets rid of a potential Yachi Berry. So I'm just going to attack my opponent here. He does go for the Mach Punch, not quite able to put me in range of Ice Shard though, unless he's like Choice Band, but earlier damage revealed that he wasn't. From what he did to Mega Medicham, and we're going to be able to pop our Yachi, and we're going to get the nice 1-0 victory here. Oh my god, what a game. So we're actually going to bump up to 7 wins, 2 losses with a plus 14 differential, where our opponent drops to 6-3 with a plus 13 differential. So whilst the differential doesn't change much, that third loss is huge, and our 7th win is huge too. Skyrise still sits at the top of the league with 8 or 9 wins. I'm not sure at the moment. I think he's got 8 wins. Hasn't played this week 9 yet. But the race is close, and I'm glad to get this big 7th win against a tough opponent. So really hype about this victory. Good game to Bacon Chest and the St. Kilda Serperiors. Good luck the rest of the season. Super solid season so far, so no doubt that you will continue in your success. But we do jump to 7-2, and I think once the power ranks are decided after this week, I think we'll have the number. We'll be in a top 3 position, hopefully. So after a 0-2 start, we've jumped back to the top 3 with 7 consecutive wins, and really hype about that. You can see my boy Pledge caught this battle live, and he said, what a close game. That was fun to watch. Nice win, Scotty. He started calling me Scotty because Aki calls me Scotty. But yeah, good game. Good luck the rest of the season. Let me know what you thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.